Havana, Cuba. November 2016. It is 2 a.m. and a CIA officer wakes up in his apartment to a sound he's never heard before, not loud but piercing, like metal grinding against metal, mixed with the buzz of insects concentrated into a beam. He sits up and the sound stops. He moves left and there's silence. He moves right and it returns, tracking him. Within seconds, his head feels like it's in a vice. The pressure builds behind his eyes. His nose starts bleeding. He stumbles to the bathroom and vomits. By morning, he can't remember his wife's phone number. Within a week, 3 more officers report the same thing, and when neurologists scan their brains, they find damage consistent with concussions, except none of them were hit by anything. Over the next 6 months, 26 American officials in Havana report identical attacks: the grinding sound, the directional beam that follows them from room to room, the crushing headaches, the cognitive damage. Then it spreads. Beijing 2018, Vienna 2019, Bogota, Hanoi, and in 2020 right on the south lawn of the White House, a National Security Council official collapses with the same symptoms. Someone is systematically hunting America's spies and diplomats with a weapon that leaves no evidence. No bullets, no fingerprints, just broken brains. Welcome to Season 3 of Shadow Works. Today, we open the file on the Havana Syndrome, the mystery of how an invisible weapon, or mass hysteria, crippled U.S. intelligence without firing a single shot. This wasn't the first time. From 1953 to 1976, the Soviet Union bombarded the U.S. Embassy in Moscow with high-frequency microwaves 8 hours a day, every day, for 23 years. The CIA detected it in the 60s, but kept it classified because they didn't want to admit their diplomats were living inside a microwave oven. 2 ambassadors developed leukemia. Dozens of staff reported headaches, fatigue, and cognitive issues. And the State Department conducted secret studies that found elevated cancer rates, but publicly denied anything was wrong. They called it the Moscow signal, and to this day, the U.S. government won't officially confirm what it was for: electronic surveillance, communications jamming, or deliberate biological warfare against American personnel. Fast forward to 2016, and the attacks start in Cuba, then China, then Vienna, then right on the lawn of the White House. The targets were always spies, diplomats, or National Security Council officials. Someone was hunting the hunters. How do you damage a brain from across the street without a gun? The leading theory is based on something called the Frey effect, discovered by neuroscientist Alan Frey in 1961. He found that if you pulse microwaves at a specific frequency into a human skull, the energy rapidly heats the water molecules inside the cochlea and auditory nerve tissue. This thermal expansion creates pressure waves that the brain interprets as sound. Except you're not hearing with your ears. You're hearing with your brain tissue. Crank up the power and the physics gets darker. The microwaves don't just create phantom sounds. They cause cavitation, tiny bubbles forming in cerebrospinal fluid that collapse and create microscopic shockwaves, shearing neurons and damaging white matter. It's a concussion caused by boiling your own brain fluid. The Department of Defense studied this in the 1970s and classified the results. But declassified documents confirmed they knew pulsed microwave energy could cause permanent neurological damage from hundreds of meters away. One CIA officer, Mark Polymeropoulos, was hit in Moscow in 2017. He described it as someone drilling into my head from the inside, and immediately lost peripheral vision in his right eye. 2 years later, he was still experiencing severe vertigo, couldn't read for more than 10 minutes, and had to retire from the agency. He told 60 Minutes, "I've been in war zones, I've been shot at, I've been in explosions. This was different. This was someone sitting in a room with a device deliberately trying to injure my brain." When he sought treatment at Walter Reed, doctors found measurable cognitive decline and white matter damage consistent with traumatic brain injury. His symptoms matched those of over 200 other confirmed cases across the U.S. government. Then in 2023, The U.S. intelligence community released a report concluding it was very unlikely a foreign adversary was responsible. Instead, they blamed environmental factors, anxiety, and the Indies short-tailed cricket, whose mating call supposedly matches the recorded sounds. Let that sink in. The official position of the United States government is that trained intelligence officers with top-secret clearances stationed in multiple countries across 3 continents somehow all mistook cricket noises for targeted attacks and gave themselves brain damage through the power of suggestion. The victims were furious. One CIA officer told CB, "Crickets don't follow you from room to room. Crickets don't cause white matter lesions visible on MRI. And crickets don't specifically target counterintelligence officers while leaving other embassy staff untouched." Independent journalists and researchers weren't buying it either. The Insider and Der Spiegel conducted a joint investigation and found something explosive. Members of GRU Unit 29155, Russia's assassination and sabotage squad, were present in the same cities at the exact same times as the attacks. Travel records, phone metadata, and geolocation data put these operatives within blocks of victims' homes and hotels in Havana, Frankfurt, and Tbilisi. Unit 29155 is the same group responsible for the Skripal poisoning in the UK, ammunition depot explosions in Czech Republic, and multiple assassination attempts across Europe. They specialize in attacks designed to be ambiguous and deniable. One senior Russian intelligence officer who defected told investigators they were testing a microwave weapon system on low-value targets to see if it was detectable. So what is Havana Syndrome, a directed energy weapon or mass psychogenic illness? Here's what makes it terrifying. Both explanations are horrible. If it's a weapon, then Russia developed a tool that can cause brain damage from across the street, leaves no forensic evidence, and can't be proven in a court of law. It's the perfect assassination tool for the 21st century. A weapon specifically designed to exploit the gap between we know and we can prove. But if it's not a weapon, if it's mass hysteria triggered by stress, isolation, and the fear of invisible attacks, then that might be even worse. Because it means the human mind is so fragile that the mere suggestion of a threat can cause actual neurological damage. Either way, America's intelligence apparatus was effectively paralyzed for 5 years. The implications are chilling. If directed energy weapons are operational and undetectable, then every diplomat, every spy, every government official is now a soft target. You can't armor against microwaves, you can't detect them reliably, you can't even prove you were attacked. It's assassination with plausible deniability. And if other nations develop similar capabilities, or already have, we're re-entering an era where invisible weapons can cripple intelligence agencies without anyone being able to declare it an act of war. The perfect weapon isn't one that kills instantly, it is one that destroys your brain, slowly while everyone debates whether it even exists. Havana Syndrome raises a question that the intelligence community has been obsessed with since the Cold War. How do you weaponize the human mind? Whether the attacks were real or psychosomatic, they worked, they broke brains, ended careers, and created paralyzing fear. And this isn't new. In the 1950s, the CIA ran a program to answer that exact question. But instead of microwaves, they used LSD, electroshock, sensory deprivation, and hypnosis on unwitting American citizens. They called it MKUltra, and what they did was so illegal that when Congress discovered it, the CIA director ordered all the files destroyed. Almost all. Join us next time as we open the darkest file in CIA history. Project MKUltra. Click here to subscribe. You do not want to miss this one.